We certainly have enjoyed getting to know you, and not to mention we have enjoyed showing off to you the amazing place where we get to work each and every day. It's a really nice view. Not often do we get to come up here and enjoy the sunset, so it's you're lucky to be here tonight. So tonight, I'm pleased to introduce you to someone who knows you better than you might think, and several of you here have probably, well, you've seen her either in person or via Skype as part of the process. She's a dedicated member of our selection committee and has spent hours upon hours studying your achievements. Please join me in welcoming our other favorite First Lady, former First Lady of the State of California, Ms. Gail Wilson.
Pull this down a little bit. Thank you very much. I am delighted to be here, and I have to tell you, you students, I do feel like I know you well. I've read your applications, your essays that you wrote so long ago, your letters of nomination when your counselor or your principal or someone else important in your life wrote things about you that you probably couldn't say yourself. And I could hardly wait to meet you in person. I have Skyped 4 of you, and I've read all of your applications. Now, how did I get to be so lucky to be on this selection committee? Well, there are really 3 reasons. The first is who you know doesn't hurt. The second is, as Barbara Bush said, you don't luck into things as much as you like to think you do. You build step by step, whether it's friendship or opportunities. Or, and some of you may know Louis Pasteur's quote, "Fortune favors the prepared mind." And the third thing is, it's often just being in the right place at the right time, or when opportunity presents itself. Now, I know none of you are from California. I don't know how we managed to get 20 finalists and not one from California. So you're probably not going to know California history. I grew up in Arizona, so I learned Arizona history and had to learn California history when I moved here. But I'm going to tell you about each of those 3 things, and from the perspective of being from California. I'm married to the former governor of California. He was also a former U.S. senator, former mayor of San Diego, and a former state assemblyman. So that certainly helped my getting on this selection committee. He was first elected to the state assembly the same year that Ronald Reagan was elected governor, and they served together. And then Pete also served in the U.S. Senate when President Reagan was president. Pete supported Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan supported him. He made 9 appearances in Pete's first campaign for governor, and we were always so grateful because he always drew a crowd. Now, when Pete was out of office after finishing his second term as governor, he actually shared office space with Ronald Reagan. And then he became a member of the Reagan Foundation, which supports this wonderful library and museum. So through his involvement, I've had many opportunities to come here and to meet many of our nation's top leaders. I mentioned Barbara Bush's quote about being prepared for the opportunity when it comes. Well, for the past 30 years, much of my focus has been on young people like you, high school-aged, high-achieving students, especially in the STEM fields. As a high school student, I was one of the 40 national finalists in the Westinghouse Science Talent Search. It's now the Intel Science Talent Search. I graduated from Stanford in biology with a Phi Beta Kappa key and was a board member for 20 years of the Center for Excellence in Education that puts on the Research Science Institute at MIT. And finally, as First Lady, I helped establish the California State Summer School for Math and Science, called Cosmos, which is now in its 15th summer, and we will host approximately 700 high school students on 4 University of California campuses this summer for 4 weeks. So I really relate to this age group and this type of student that you are. Now, as far as being in the right place at the right time, when this library and museum was celebrating the 100th anniversary of Ronald Reagan's birth, when this scholarship program was launched, my husband actually came to the first awards dinner. And he came home and told me all about it, and I thought, I should be a part of that. I would love that. And then we went on a wonderful trip to Central Europe to honor President Reagan's legacy in defeating communism and freeing the captive nations of Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic. And it was on that trip that I learned more about the scholarship program, and I volunteered to be on the selection committee. Lucky me. With all the things I know about you, I think I should just stand up here and gaze upon you. Now that is a laugh line, folks. You more than satisfy the criteria for this GE-Reagan Scholarship of leadership, drive, integrity, and citizenship. I know of your communication skills, your self-motivation, your strong work ethic. I know of your respect for others, your appreciation for what you've been given, your patriotism, your perseverance, your ability to accept challenges and to overcome challenges, your orientation towards community service. I know about your empathy and compassion, and I know about your positive attitude. These are the virtues of America and of Ronald Reagan. I've read of your goals and dreams. Some of you want to be politicians to become tomorrow's leaders, some to be doctors to cure serious diseases. Some of you want to pursue global diplomacy, maybe be an ambassador or the Secretary of State. Some of you will work to ensure that the world is fed, and some will ensure that our space program is robust, and others will work to make sure that America's youth are well educated. I have no doubt you'll achieve your goals, although I must warn you, your goals may change from what you're thinking right now. As American citizens, you really do have unlimited opportunities to make this world a better place. So in addition to your career, I could already tell you want to be part of something bigger than you are. You'll find something you're passionate about in your community, and you'll ask to volunteer. Volunteers do what they do from the heart. They want to make a difference. And believe me, I know you get a lot more than you give. In the end, it all goes back to you, to your family. You and your family affect your neighborhood, and your neighborhood affects your city, the county, the state, the nation, and the world. It's just a progression of what happens at your house, in your life. The decisions that you make can and do make a difference. So I urge you to take a leadership position at your college. It will make your education so much more meaningful to you. Eventually, when you're out in the world, you'll seek out other leadership positions, possibly to run for the school board, or find out what it takes to be on a planning commission, or be on the Red Cross board, or the Salvation Army board. Through this process, you will be working for the greater good of your community. Democracy is participatory. We need your leadership, and you can't assume that anyone else is going to provide it. Think about what's really special about America, what freedoms and what rights we have. But I know you also will think about your civic responsibilities. You have the power to determine what your world will be, and I have no doubt you'll accept the challenge. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Mrs. Wilson, for your words. Very inspiring, and we are definitely grateful that you, in Europe, you decided to say yes. You've been a wonderful part of this program and so supportive over the last several years. Now I have the good fortune of introducing you to the person here at the foundation who is tasked with boosting the profile of both President Reagan's legacy and the Reagan Library through many different means. Please welcome our Chief Marketing Officer, Ms. Melissa Giller.
Thank you, Tony. To lower the little speech thing. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay. It is an honor to be with you all this evening. This is my second year being a part of the GE-Reagan Foundation Welcome Dinner, and I can honestly say each of you inspire me to work harder and to do more to give back. In fact, this is a true story. I use all of you as examples in my house all the time when I'm speaking to my children about the importance of being a well-rounded individual. I really do. I think my 14-year-old doesn't like me for it. I applaud each and every one of you for your accomplishments to date and for the success I know you will have as you continue on your journey. I've been asked tonight to share a little bit about myself and about my role here at the Reagan Foundation. When people ask me how long I've worked here, I often pause for a second. Not because I don't know how long I've worked here, I do, but because many people change jobs every few years. And I wonder what they'll say when they hear that I've been here just a few weeks shy of starting my 14th year. And I'm not embarrassed of that, I'm very proud. For I'm beyond fortunate to have found a career that challenges me every day and provides me with growth and opportunities that I never thought possible in my jobs prior to working here. In the past 13 years, I've worked on teams that helped design and create the exhibitry for the Air Force One Pavilion. I've worked on 3 presidential debates. I've traveled to foreign countries. I've worked with the most amazing, awe-inspiring leaders of our time through our speaker series. I've launched our social media platforms, and I've created our podcast series. I have helped brand our foundation and grow the library from what we used to call, we really did, a sleepy museum on a hill, to the world-renowned home of Ronald Reagan's legacy that it has become. It is truly an honor to work here. As you each go off to college and prepare to start the next chapter in your lives, I wish nothing more for each of you than the opportunity to turn your passion into a lifelong career that finds you success and happiness. I have no doubt that you will all be able to achieve that. Speaking of finding success, it is now my honor to introduce Blake Delaplane, a 2011 GE-Reagan Foundation Scholarship recipient from Gold River, California. He attended Rice University and graduated early, magna cum laude, in May of 2014, making him this scholarship program's first graduate. It's a big deal. While on campus, he founded the first ever undergraduate Federalist Society in the country. He just accepted a job offer at Jones Day in Washington, D.C., and he hopes to attend law school. Blake, would you care to join me? Hopefully these are on. No, not on. Now they're on. There we go.
Testing. There we go. Good evening, everyone.
He's the director of the library education program by day, podium mover by night. Good job, Tony. So Blake, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, starting from high school?
Sure. Yeah, so I've grown up in California all my life, Sacramento area. And so because of that, I've always felt like I had a distinct connection to my community. So early on, I was always getting involved in whatever opportunities I could find myself doing, whether it was mowing lawns or doing volunteer work. And my father is a social worker, so I had kind of an interesting experience always being around foster kids, and at some point he became an employee over an adoption agency. So I got to see a life that I fortunately didn't have to live through, but developed a real sense of compassion for people who came from underprivileged backgrounds. And since then, when I got into high school, I just wanted to continue to develop that. So in high school, I got involved early on with the Congressional Award Program. I think I was reading a couple of you guys did it. But it was just really a life-changing program for me. It helped kind of refine my mind, my body, my soul, and really supplant a sort of passion and purpose inside me. And throughout high school, I was trying to be as involved as I could in the things that interested me most. And I like to look back and say that I was a public servant at a pretty young age. I did my first internship with a congressman when I was 15, and then went next summer to DC and had a chance to intern there. And so I felt like high school was a great opportunity for me to really see how I could make a difference early on. I think all the scholars here can agree, but I've really been fortunate to be able to have the opportunities I've had and meet the people I've met. So high school was definitely a highlight and helped me build a foundation for getting into college and going from there. So.
And how were you able to carry that through college?
It was tough. I'm not going to lie and say that it was just ingrained and easy. There are definitely a lot of challenges in college where you need to stay focused on who you are, who you want to be, who you want to help. You want to be very goal-oriented and make sure you don't get off track, because it's definitely easy to get distracted. And so in college, I definitely early on surrounded myself with people who shared similar passions, not necessarily in the same major or interests, but people who enjoyed serving. And I wanted to be a part of a community that cared about others, and I found that, fortunately. And I would also say to constantly make an effort to challenge yourself every day, be intentional about what you want to get done that day. And so don't lollygag, don't go around, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Figure it out, lay it out, and then you may do it, you may not, but people who are organized, I've noticed, are incredibly successful in life. And I'm not naturally organized, but you teach yourself. And so it's been a real great way for me to piggyback off of what I learned in high school, take that into college, but make it more meaningful, definitely.
And how did you decide to go to Rice?
Yeah, never thought I'd end up in Texas, first off. Like I said, I'd always grown up in California. And so for me, I either envisioned myself staying in the state because my family obviously wanted me as nearby as possible. I know all the parents can sympathize with that. But also perhaps going off to the East Coast because I had worked in D.C. for a summer and fell in love with that. And I, sure enough, like a month before college apps were due, I ran into an alumni at a random event that I happened to be at, and he recommended I check out Rice, and I'd heard of it, but couldn't tell you anything other than it's a college. And so I did some more research and ended up applying and got in and went and visited. And compared to some of the other schools I was considering, it really stood out to me. The environment, the people there were very mission-oriented. And surprisingly, there weren't a lot of cowboy boots. I was shocked. I thought I'd see a lot of drawls, too, from Texas, and no, not at Rice. Everywhere else, though. And so it was really great, though, to see kind of the community that was tight-knit there. I really appreciated that, and there was a lot of access with faculty, and students were really kind of like a giant family. The culture was very familial, so.
As you were preparing to go to college, what were you most excited about or most nervous about?
I would say I really wanted to leave a legacy, and I encourage all you guys to try to think about that too, wherever you're going. Think about when you leave, you want to be able to turn around and look back at the years you were in college and say, I left that, or I helped these students or this group or this professor in some, quite frankly, monumental way. Don't limit yourself. You can really change the culture for the better. You can really just leave a print that's positive and can inspire others. I mean, you're never going to be the smartest person. You're never going to be the most accomplished. You can definitely be up there, but you're always going to have an opportunity to change lives. And at a university, you want to make that tangible. You don't want to make it metaphorical or difficult to understand or abstract. You want to be able to say, oh, I did this, this, this. And next year, this person is doing something off of what I did. Provide a puzzle so that people can connect different pieces and build off of what you're doing. And that, I think, plays into the idea, President Reagan said it well about if you are fine with not always taking credit for everything, then you're going to be successful and you're going to do really well in life and have an impact. And I think that's dead on right. Don't get caught up in trying to get the spotlight or the attention for all your hard work, because eventually, you'll see the change that you want to see. You may have to be patient, but it'll come along, and it'll be really encouraging, not just for you, but other people as well.
Yeah, I needed you to give me advice before I went to college. What surprised you most, if anything, about college?
So I would say I was shocked about how there's so many different mindsets when you get to college. You're going to meet students who come from very interesting places, who have remarkable backgrounds, and really, quite frankly, don't agree with you on much. And that's okay. Initially, I was looking for people who were just going to agree and say yes to everything I had to say and kind of protect myself from the rest of the community, when that really isn't the right approach. And I figured that out really quick. And so I was most surprised by how open students are in college to really congregating in groups that are very diverse in ideas, in goals, and interests. And so definitely don't limit the sphere of your influence in other people's lives. If they are doing something completely different than what you're doing, still be a part of what they're doing, and they'll do something with you too. So you kind of tag team, and you learn to really promote teamwork, both with school, extracurriculars, planning Friday night excursions, whatever it is. It's, you want to be a teammate to people and let them know that it's fun to really do life together and not on your own.
In general, did you find the professors to be fair?
Yes and no. I think that professors the experience you get in the classroom is what you make of it, as cliche as that is. And if you really want to get something out of a professor, yeah, every once in a while you'll get a great professor who you just have to sit there and listen, and you'll be edified, and your life will change in the classroom. And I know, for one, I got a chance to take a history class with Douglas Brinkley, who is a real big name around the foundation here. He's done a lot of research on the Reagan diaries, and so you'll have some great opportunities to hear from amazing people teaching on different issues that you're interested in. But at the same time, you really need to not be afraid to approach professors and let them know what you're interested in, and just be upfront and say, is there anything I can help you with? Would you like to grab lunch sometime? And you make an effort to connect with them. And I don't recall any instances personally, or even from other friends that I know of, where they were rejected or shunned because of that opportunity that they took. So if you're really proactive and you just make an effort, stay after class, come early before, and really understand who your professors are as people and not just as instructors. They may drop a line during a lecture about how much they love dogs. Well, maybe after class, you can talk to them about their dogs. I don't know. But it's a great way to build relationships, and professors really care about that. And so there's kind of a two-dimensionality of being a student in college. There's one side of, trying to get the best grades as possible and working your tail off to understand the material, but also letting the professors know that they're more than just a jumping block to get to what you want to get to next, letting them know that you want to be part of what they're doing. And I had an opportunity to work with a couple of professors, and I consider them friends today. We talk about things that don't have anything to do with school and just life, and it's really special, and I encourage you all to do that. There's no reason why that can't happen. You just have to take a risk, go up to them, and start engaging, ask them questions, and get to know them, because it will definitely be a special experience.
What was your experience between making new friends at college and holding on to some of those friendships from high school?
It's hard. And I think part of it plays into how far you are from home. So I think some of you might be staying near home, others will be, thousands of miles away. And so it's really just making, another word I like to use is intentional. Figure out what do you want to get accomplished, and just accomplish it. Set aside a time during the weekend where you do Skype calls or phone calls to good friends. And when you're back home for Thanksgiving or winter break, or anytime you can be back home, reach out and find the people from high school who you were hanging out with then, and get connected with them again, because it means a lot, I think, when your high school friends see that you're still making an effort to keep the friendship going. There's no reason why your friendships in high school can't continue to blossom, through college. And so for me, I can't say that I'm still real close with everyone that I was close with in high school, but I've definitely kept some friendships strong, and they've also grown too over the years.
Yeah, there's a test. A handful will shake out, and you will stay friends with them
Sure,
for the rest of your life.
Definitely.
How did you manage your academics and your activities?
Time management. Don't procrastinate, as easy as it is to get into that. It's really important to keep a calendar, at least for me, where every week you can kind of visualize how it might go. You can't predict every twist and turn, but at some point you need to have a good sense of where you're going. And for me, I did my best to do hour slots on what I was going to do. If it was social life, I'm going to hang out no more than 2 hours, because I got to go and study for this. And there's a way to balance it and be healthy in both respects, but really to be organized and have time management. Procrastination just causes a lot of unneeded stress, and I saw it in a lot of my friends, and it's not fun. I never pulled one all-nighter in college, and I think that's just a testament to a commitment to do well, and going back to the Congressional Medal Award philosophy of building your mind, body, and soul. Making sure that you're healthy in every respect, and not letting that stray away and get so focused on maybe one aspect, but then neglecting the others. And so It's tough, but it's definitely doable.
And how'd you go about seeking out those leadership roles that you took?
I think a lot of it kind of ties back to the people that you meet and even the professors. So you meet a professor, you get engaged with their research or what they're doing, and they may say, oh, I'm doing this. I'm traveling to Nigeria in 2 weeks. Do you want to tag along? Yeah. Go for it. And that's another thing. Be spontaneous. Don't get scared. If there's something that comes up, an opportunity that just seems crazy to take, just do it. And you'll learn. If it's right for you, it'll be amazing. And if not, you'll learn that it's not right for you in the future. And so with leadership opportunities, build strong relationships with your superiors on campus, upperclassmen, get to know upperclassmen early on, and that'll help you if you have already set your mind on getting involved in a certain club on your school campus. Get really close with the president, the vice president, the treasurer, the secretary. Take them out to lunch. Let them know you're really interested in being a part of what they're doing, and soon enough, you'll be a big part of that organization. And then also, I guarantee you all are very entrepreneurial. Go for that. Don't be afraid to start your own gig on campus and to take maybe what you've done in high school and create it at a more advanced level in college, or do something entirely new. There's no limits. If people detect passion in you, they will usually, I think, jump on board. And definitely don't ever tell people, don't treat people in a way where they're subordinate to you. So you may have the idea, but let them know that they can have just as much, if not more, influence in creating that idea, and they will definitely be invested. Because the hard thing is in college, you get so wrapped up in what you're trying to do, all your classes and your extracurriculars, it's very hard to get students to really commit to certain things. And so if you can get them to really understand that they can have an impact, they will jump on board, and you'll be tremendously successful in whatever group you're doing.
As we're sitting here with the recipients from this year's scholarship program, what was your experience of your 2011 retreat?
Yeah, it was fun. I'm in touch with several scholars to this day from my class, and I can remember the day that we were congregating here on this patio. A couple of us were talking about a nonprofit we wanted to start together, and I'm sure you guys have had cool conversations like that already, but continue to have them more and more, and be crazy about your ideas, and find intersections based on one of you may be interested in public health, the other in nanotechnology, and find an intersection there. And there's no reason why you can't make that work. I mean, you guys are all super motivated and you're all going to do great things, but because you're already together here, this makes it really easy to communicate. So don't waste the time that you could be using to create an awesome cause from just sitting at a table, and then translate that onto your campuses. I think it's really important to not limit circumstance, and so see opportunity and just spew out ideas and have fun with each other. I mean, this is also a time to just be friends and recognize that there's definitely a lot of good that will come out of this. And even down the road, decade or two, you guys are going to run into each other at some point. There's no doubt. So definitely value it.
Last question, in a way you've sort of answered this a couple times throughout the other questions, but maybe you can summarize what you've said. What advice would you give to these incoming freshmen to make their most out of their college experience?
Sure. The one other thing that I think is really, it helped me, that was finding mentors in your life. And Ronald Reagan always had mentors. I was reading up on it the other day, just curious. And at every stage in his life, there's always someone, other than just his family. Not that you guys aren't mentors, but people who were living life right there with him, whether it was in GE or in his theater acting class in high school. There were always people that he was really relying on and seeking wisdom from. And I kind of like to think of our position as a college student is to be a reporter or like someone who interviews. Always be in an interviewing mindset. And don't be afraid to approach people and ask them questions about what makes them tick. Why do they do the things they do, and who do they do them for? figure out, what does impact look like in society? There are people who've gone before us, and they've done tremendous things. So what did they do right? Because they must have done something right. And figure that out. So when you're in college, whether it's a professor or even an older student, someone in the community that you get involved with through volunteering, find mentors, and there's no limit either. Always just have as much wisdom and guidance as you can coming in from all angles, because it can never hurt you. It can only prepare you for the next step and give you confidence to tackle obstacles that you never were ready to tackle until you were told that it's definitely doable. And so I know with my experiences in the Federalist Society organization that I started, just briefly, we were dedicated to basically educating the campus about legal issues and how they affect anything in this day and age. Whether you're a doctor, an engineer, oftentimes the law is going to intersect with what you do, and it's good to know about it. And at Rice, there's no law school, so there was definitely a need that needed to be filled. And so with that, there were definitely some events that were controversial in some respects, inviting people who not everyone agreed with, not endorsing them, but just providing them a platform to share ideas. And there was times where I needed to go to council, and I needed to seek people who knew what they were doing and be humble and say, I don't have all the answers. I don't know how to make this event a success. Can you help me? And you can start from freshman year on doing that, and just finding people who you can rely on, who you know are successful and have a vision that they can share with you. So.
Well, that was great. We can't thank you enough, and we look forward to see what comes next of you. And maybe in a couple of years, one of you will be sitting here telling us about your experiences. So thank you very much, and Tony will bring you back up.
Excellent. All right. Let me see here. So thank you very much, Melissa and Blake. Hopefully Blake gave you some inspiration. I know I was inspired. I'm not even going into college, but I got some good pointers. Next time I go through college, I will do it better. So in just a moment, we're going to head inside on the doors to my right over there. We're going to end tonight with a little bit of a movie night. You may have smelled or heard the popcorn. So we're going to watch a film called The Reagan Years. We're going to go into the same theater we started the day in. But we wanted to give everybody an opportunity on your way in, if you want to grab some popcorn. We'll also take a few minutes if you haven't had a chance to see the gravesite yet. Now is a beautiful, beautiful time to stop by. Mrs. Reagan was here a couple weeks ago paying her respects at the gravesite. So I also wanted to, just a couple of housekeeping items. Tomorrow morning you're heading off campus. One of the things, one of my favorite parts of the retreat is you've all demonstrated your capacity to serve others. And so one of the things we like to do when we bring our scholars together is to, in that spirit, go out and serve our community here in Ventura. So you're going to be going out to a place called Food Share. And they've done a couple different interesting, I'm not sure what they have in store for us tomorrow, but it's been pretty great the last couple of years. It's that and a picnic lunch. So you should have received a waiver for you and your guests in your bag. Please make sure you give that to Aaron before departing tomorrow. Scholars, you also, the gray T-shirts that you have in there, please wear those tomorrow. And then sunscreen or a hat and then we'll be back on campus tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be interviewing you for a video. Many of you probably saw when you were applying for the scholarship the video of last year's recipients. So tomorrow we will be interviewing you. So practice and be as well-spoken as Blake was this evening. And finally let's go ahead and head into the movie. So if you want to grab some popcorn, go over and pay your respects at the gravesite, and see you inside.